All right, welcome back, everyone. Bienvenidos a todos. Todos. Hoy es el día 3, right? Número 3. Today is day 3. I have some things to discuss before we start. Right. We're very much in the experimental phase of filling out this stuff. So before we do that, we'll go over some stuff off the top of our memory with greeting people, right? So we have adios, right? Adios. Mucho gusto. Mucho gusto. Hola, right? Hola. Disculpe, and perdón. There were like 15 things. Whoops. Buenos dias, right? Wait. Just kidding. Wait. Buenos dias and buenas noches, right? Buenos dias and buenas noches. That doesn't look like unless they separated buenos dias and buenas noches. There's others. Ope, perdón, por favor. Please. Do we have any adjectives? No. Lo siento. So hello, goodbye. Nice to meet you. Excuse me. Sorry, please. Good morning. Good evening. I think that's a good enough combination of greetings, right? And then there's additional stuff. So additional stuff here. While I do see podcasts, so there are two things, or one thing that's very important to note. So I'm on the desktop version, right? So I'm on the desktop version. And from my experience from the Japanese and the Chinese course, there are differences. Usually all the features and current things are on the mobile side of things. However, I have already made the disclaimer, I generally use the desktop version. Now, it wasn't as significant for the Japanese and the Chinese one. However, since the Spanish one usually gets most of the feature sets, there was actually a very large feature that was added at the turn of 2024, right, into 2025, during Duocon. So this one feature was adventures, so the adventure feature. And that has already been added to the current mobile path So starting on unit 2, this block right here, the last like half block, it's usually my day 3 block, which is the half of these. So this is usually, if this is 4, for example, then this is 2, right? 4, 4, 2. Now, this has been converted. So usually it's the last before the trophy. So this has been converted into these adventure slots. And for unit 2, the adventure was following Junior. So I did these on my mobile. I don't like capturing my phone, largely because it can get a little dicey with information and calling and all that. But I might sort that out as a special event in a review cycle or something. But it followed Junior. And for the record, these adventures are far more ahead in nuance. Like they're far ahead. They're not attached to the units themselves. So for this first unit 2, it was about Junior looking to get Lily's phone number. And it's fantastic. I mean, you still have your gripes if you don't like AI generated voices. That's a preference issue. So basically you have this top-down view. It's slightly angled top-down view, and you click around in what looked like a building with like some places you can interact. So there was like a public phone and some pictures, and when you click on them, they'll tell you, like Junior will say, oh, this is a public phone, or this is so the first thing you do is you walk Junior next to the person and you ask, and it bumped into, I think it was B asked like, oh, how can I help you, in Spanish, right? I'm not that fast at doing Spanish, but I already know what they say most of the time. So that person said, how can I help you? And Junior had 2 choices. You either say goodbye. Well, first they greet each other, right? It's very on the nose. So it's like, oh, hola, right? Hola, ¿cómo estás? Something like that. Or how are you doing? Or hola, mucho gusto, right? Mucho gusto. And then you're supposed to reply back like, mucho gusto. Then the character asks, how can I help you, right? And Junior, you had a choice, and Junior, one of the choices was goodbye, which makes no sense, right? So it has a great way of funneling you into it. And Junior asks, ¿Cuál es I guess Lily teléfono, right? I actually don't know what phrase they ended up using for the telephone number, but he was asking for the telephone number. And then B, I think B is the character. B is the character because B is going to ask, oh, maybe you should ask Lily. And Lily is actually standing in the room somewhere. So you go to Lily, and Lily's like, hello, and then mucho gusto. And then Junior is like, mucho gusto as well, right? And then you ask Lily for her phone number, because one of the 2 choices makes sense and the other one doesn't. Like it was saying like goodbye or something, or my name is Junior. Junior is a really weird name in Spanish. But then what happens is she'll ask like, okay, do you have a phone? And Junior's like, oh, my father has a phone. And Eddie is standing in the room as well. So you go to Eddie. I didn't know Eddie was Junior's father, but so he asked Eddie, and then Eddie was like, oh, I don't know where my phone is. After you ask like, tú tienes teléfono, right? Like, do you have a phone? And then you find it by clicking on random things, and you found out it was in the bush behind him. Then you go to Lily, and Lily finally put the phone number on the phone, and that was the end of the adventure. It is really fun. Like, I think it's awesome. Obviously, it's your cup of tea if you're hearing full sentences and interactions between 2 AI voices. I mean, if you've watched enough like doom scroll shorts, you probably get used to it, but it's up to you. It's your cup of tea, but it is wonderful. And it's at the end. It's right here. It replaces this, which is a review of these, right? So instead, you have new, review, and then you have adventure. And then in between here is another thing. They redid the track, and now in between here is a podcast. So it kind of resembles, so we haven't even got, so we have story stuff here, right? And podcast comes after, much after. Like here's the first podcast. So the track feels like you're not doing the same thing back to back to back. It's every alternating thing. So the new path is even excellent. So for now though, I'm not gonna do this online. So what I'm going to say is I'm probably gonna spend each day, I'm gonna go over what the junior or what the adventure is, because I'm gonna do this offline. And then what the other things are missing. So the other thing missing here is the podcast. And I think it's Lucy, the older one, Lucy. She's the podcast person. And you overhear a conversation between Juan and Maria. And they just introduce each other. And then they ask questions in between. And it was brilliant too. I like the podcast stuff too. Juan mentions that he speaks both Spanish and English, and then you answer questions and it's like, oh, like who is Juan to Maria? Who is Maria talking to? That kind of thing. And it was kind of nice. And Lucy's voice sounds like the stock, sounds very close to the AI voice that you hear that's being used for the YouTube shorts. So it's a matter of taste, obviously. But so we had a Lucy podcast and Junior podcast. Juan and Maria was using the unit stuff. So the podcast stuff is on the unit's vocabulary, and it even tests you some of the keywords before you go into the podcast. So like perdón, adiós, mucho gusto, inglés, español, right? That type of thing. And then the adventure stuff just goes ham. It goes like somewhere else entirely. But the choices are, you can rule out the not right answer, not right choices, if you already know the vocabulary. But hear me out. If you deliberately get them wrong, if you click on a wrong one, they have additional lines to make it ask you, hey, that doesn't make sense. Can you ask a different question? Like the characters, they wrote extra lines. So when you do something weird, they have extra lines for that. And that's wonderful, because that's above and beyond what I think. You're debating on jumping back into Spanish or just sticking solely to Japanese? I see. Man, Spanish, when you have resources, like when people dedicate resources in its popularity, it's night and day. It's not even close. And I totally understand that. Like, I'm not saying, I'm personally saying I totally understand when someone goes from Spanish and they like become interested in something like rare. That is clear cut. There's a gigantic disparity. I understand. But that's more like, from my perspective, since I'm going the other way, but I'm usually going the other way most of the time. The idea is all that stuff is because this stuff is popular. Like, people want to learn Spanish, right? So if it's reflective down, I totally get it. But at the same time, it's being entitled. It's taking things for granted. I don't necessarily think all this cool stuff, in my opinion, personally, I can get to learning this stuff and making it entertaining just like that. I go and do immersive learning or something, and I'm like, oh, hey, there's those vocabulary. Or I go play a video game, and you get that too. But it's up to you, right? The agency is up to you. It would be lovely if someone like an angel investor just gave them all the money and then like expand their crew and then do all that so that there's no such a big disparity. But at the same time, I don't necessarily think if those things were there, I would have trouble staying consistent. But oh man, is it so nice. It is so exceptional how they can make you get the right answer. And if you're half paying attention, which I feel like sometimes people don't pay attention, you get a lot out of it. Like it's crazy going from Chinese to Japanese, then to Spanish. But and I love doing practices like with the speech thing. It's a wild time. So I look forward to sharing some of the stuff when it becomes more elaborate and whatnot. But it does look like, for all intents and purposes, like for now, this all the features are here, including the podcast, but now there are more podcasts. And the way things are sorted is very different. Like here's a story down here next to a story. So they rearranged a lot of things. And one thing to keep note, when you complete something here, it completes whatever is that unit there. So I go back and I'll just click on things and see what I missed, and I'll talk about it before the lesson starts, like what I gathered. So largely the key words in the adventure for unit 2 was probably things like cuáles, like which is, teléfono is definitely a big one. Other than that, yeah, it's centered around teléfono. Pretty good. They try to do the greetings. A lot of the focus was the greetings, right? Also, one last thing. I installed the Spanish IEM, and we're using the Spanish layout to enter the like accent marks and stuff. Hopefully I can get this down to an exercise like secondhand soon. Okay, so let's look at the guidebook for unit 3. We're going to continue for unit 3, we're going to continue completing the units and then see how we're going to divvy up these stories, because this is way different. I can't even apply my old schedule that I did for Japanese for this, because it's so unpredictable. Everything is so unpredictable right now, and it's so refreshing in my opinion. There's just so many more activities. All right, so let's get to look at the guidebook. Yo necesito un taxi. Or actually, I don't know how to say.
Yo necesito un taxi.
Yeah, just taxi. That's fine. El taxi está aquí. ¿Dónde? ¿Dónde está tu pasaporte? Passport?
¿Dónde está tu pasaporte?
Pasaporte. Oh no, our tongue is not loose enough for that. Yeah, just pasaporte. That's good enough. Mi pasaporte está en el hotel. Hotel.
Mi pasaporte está en el hotel.
Hotel. Oh, sorry, I pronounced the H. Hotel.
Mi pasaporte está en el hotel.
Hotel. Un boleto a Santiago, por favor. Oh, yeah.
Un boleto a Santiago, por favor.
Por favor. Okay, we have está versus es, right? Está and es both mean is. So what's the difference? If you want to say where someone or something is located, use está, right? Está. And then, so el taxi está aquí, right? You can also use está when talking about something that's only temporarily true. Fair enough. El hotel está cerrado. Oh, it's close, yeah. Meanwhile, es is used to describe the quantities of a person or thing. El taxi es amarillo, yeah, for yellow. All right, fair enough. We got es and está differentiation. Getting around the city. Let's get into it.
El taxi.
El taxi. Okay.
El pasaporte.
El pasaporte. I'm not gonna do the. It's gonna take a while before I can get the.
El pasaporte.
Yeah, the porte. Like porte. It's gonna be a while.
El pasaporte.
El pasaporte. El pasaporte. I'm working on it. When the stream goes off, I'm like practicing my basic, like my roles on different R's over time, but it's gonna be a while.
El teléfono.
El teléfono. So maybe this is where they had to combine the first adventure. So the first adventure dealt with this teléfono, right? But nothing else. So I'm kind of curious how they're staggering the adventures for the material.
Un teléfono.
Un teléfono, right? Un teléfono. Okay, suitcase. La maleta. Maleta. Do I remember maleta?
La maleta.
La maleta. I don't think I remember suitcase.
Mi taxi.
Me. Interesting. Mi taxi. So we have possession now.
Mi pasaporte.
Mi pasaporte.
Mi maleta.
Mi maleta. Okay. Right.
Por favor.
Por favor. Okay.
Por favor.
Por
Yo
favor.
necesito agua.
Yo necesito agua. Right. Okay. So we got our third verb, and they're probably gonna do like necesito, necesitas, and necesita, right? Or necesite. Necesita? Ah. Necesitar, right? Yeah.
Un taxi.
Un taxi, por favor.
Por favor.
Yo
Yo
necesito un teléfono.
Teléfono.
Teléfono. He's so fun. I swear, Oscar. I just want Oscar for everything. There's Oscar. He's so unnecessarily like suave.
Yo.
Yo necesito.
Necesito
Yo necesito mi maleta.
maleta.
Okay. Alright. Alright, let's keep going. Oh, it's 5 now. Alright, we're going up in volume already. I'm guessing it's gonna be around 6. 6 is probably gonna be the average for Spanish. Maybe. That's what Japanese was. Even then.
El hotel.
El hotel. El hotel.
Mi hotel.
Mi hotel. Okay.
¿Dónde?
Donde? Oh, we got our first interrogative, right? Or where? Donde?
¿Dónde?
Donde?
En el taxi.
En el taxi. Oh, we got our first preposition as well in the taxi. En el taxi.
En el hotel.
En el hotel. Hotel. Oh, I accidentally said ho again.
Mi reserva.
Mi reserva. Oh, hey. Pretty sure we... this is a pivot. It can be a noun, but I'm pretty sure reservar might actually be a thing too. But I have to remind myself in the future. We'll see.
Yo necesito una reserva.
Yo necesito una reserva.
Yo tengo una maleta.
Okay, I have. So we got tener as well. Yo tengo una maleta. Have a...
Yo tengo una reserva.
Yo tengo una reserva.
Una reserva.
El taxi está aquí.
El taxi. Okay, and then we have to exist, right? To exist. El taxi está aquí. And another positional word, aquí, which is here. Está.
Está.
Está. Está. Ooh, that's a little.
Está.
Okay, está. Okay. Mi pasaporte. In the hotel.
Está.
En el hotel. Yo tengo una maleta. Maleta.
Taxi.
El taxi está aquí.
Aquí.
Alright. So much fun. Oh, el tren. El tren.
El tren.
El tren. Yeah.
Un tren.
Un tren. Un tren. El dinero.
El dinero.
Mi dinero.
Mi dinero. El autobús. Autobús.
Un autobús.
Un autobús. Okay. Oh no. Aeropuerto. Puerto. Oh no.
El aeropuerto.
In aeropuerto.
El aeropuerto.
Aeropuerto. I can't. All right. Time.
El aeropuerto.
El aeropuerto.
Tu dinero.
Tu dinero. Your. Oh, and now we have you possessive. Yes, your money.
Un boleto, por favor.
Boleto is ticket, right? A ticket, please. Un boleto, por favor.
Un boleto a Madrid.
And then our conjunction, and, right? Wait, no, our preposition, sorry, to, our preposition to. Con is our conjunction, but we don't have con yet. Un boleto a Madrid. Let me hear it.
Un boleto a Madrid.
Madrid. I can't do it. Madrid. Madrid. We're just gonna keep on working at it. Madrid. Too tight. Tongue is too tight. Un boleto a Madrid. Un boleto a Santiago.
Tú.
Boleto. Boleto. Okay. El banco.
El banco.
Un banco.
Un banco. That was a little attitude. El hospital. Like, hospital. Have you heard of Dreaming Spanish? No, I haven't. What is that?
El hospital.
El hospital. You've heard a lot about good things about it? Oh, is it like another tool?
En el hospital.
No, hospital. I only recently started looking at other things. Right now, my grammar refresher source is SpanishDictionary.com. Span Dictionary. Actually, because free source. El
El
museo.
museo.
Un museo.
Un museo. Okay. El baño.
El baño.
Yeah.
El
el
baño.
Mi calle.
Mi calle. My street.
Un supermercado.
Supermercado. Un supermercado.
En el supermercado.
En el supermercado. Mercado.
El hotel está cerrado.
El hotel está cerrado. Oh no, it's a double R. Serra. Hold up. One time. Oh, oops. Sorry. I was testing how loose my tongue was. It's not loose enough. Cerrado. El hotel. El hotel está cerrado. Hey. Una calle.
Calle.
For a moment there, I had to check.
El
El hotel
hotel está cerrado.
cerrado. ¿Dónde está el museo? ¿Dónde está el museo? Okay. I noticed that they also do not include the typing input unless you're legending something. So when you legend something, they go into typing. So you're actually doing both in the way they staggered it. That is not true for like Japanese and Chinese, right? Although technically I didn't try to legend everything, so I don't know if that's staggered yet. But in this, it is. So once we complete this set and do the legend, you'll have like the typing part, which you sprinkle in, right?
¿Dónde está tu boleto?
¿Dónde está tu boleto? Boleto. Okay. ¿Dónde está el teléfono?
Teléfono.
En el hospital.
En el hospital. Necesito mi pasaporte. Pasaporte, por favor.
Pasaporte. El hospital está aquí.
El hospital está aquí. Okay. Aquí está el tren.
Tren. ¿Dónde está el hospital?
¿Dónde está el hospital?
¿Dónde está el supermercado?
¿Dónde está el
supermercado?
supermercado?
El pasaporte, por favor.
El pasaporte, por favor. I missed the L, but that's fine.
En la maleta. En la maleta. En la maleta.
En la maleta. In the briefcase? Or in the suitcase? Oh, okay. That's fine.
¿Dónde está el museo?
¿Dónde
¿Dónde
está el museo?
¿Dónde está el pasaporte? ¿Dónde
¿Dónde está el pasaporte? Okay. And then this is where we're gonna have button. I'm expecting like typing.
Por
right?
favor.
Maybe. Por favor. Unless they're shifting away in the beginning.
¿Dónde está el baño?
And then we have these, right? ¿Dónde está el baño?
Bebo. Baño.
Mi pasaporte está en el hotel.
Mi pasaporte está en el hotel.
En el hospital.
En el hospital.
El museo está cerrado.
El museo.
Mujer.
Mujer.
Museo.
Mi
reserva.
reserva.
El taxi está aquí.
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 Un supermercado.
Okay, so no typing in the first set. Interesting. To autobús.
Autobús.
Autobús. Tu autobús está aquí.
Aquí. En el aeropuerto.
En el
En el aeropuerto.
aeropuerto. Sorry. The
En el aeropuerto.
aero, right? Aeropuerto. I'm doing the really weird right now because of Japanese, right? Because like kairu is kai, not ae, right? So it's making me chuckle because I'm like, oh yeah. Yep. Yo necesito dinero.
Dinero. Tu tren está aquí. Tu
Tu tren
tren
está aquí.
aquí.
Okay. Yo tengo tu boleto a Madrid.
Madrid.
Yo tengo
El.
el pasaporte en la maleta.
La.
Okay, that's right.
¿Dónde está el teléfono?
¿Dónde está el teléfono?
teléfono?
¿Dónde está
El.
el banco? Está en la calle. La calle.
¿Dónde está el pasaporte? ¿Dónde está el pasaporte?
Okay. So no typing. So they dispensed with the typing. Interesting. Maybe it's in the second set. Okay, so now we have the matching stuff, right?
Por favor.
Por favor.
Mujer.
Mujer.
Maleta.
Maleta.
Niño.
Niño.
Mi pasaporte.
Okay.
Leche.
Leche.
Pasaporte.
Oh, so this is going over the previous stuff. Interesting.
Pasaporte. Por favor.
Por favor. Soy.
Un taxi, por favor. Por favor.
Por favor.
El pasaporte.
El pasaporte.
Yo necesito un teléfono.
Yo necesito un teléfono. Okay. Mi taxi.
Un taxi.
Un taxi.
El pasaporte.
Oh.
Por favor.
And here it is. Okay, so it's after the first one. It's after the introduction. So the introduction does not have these. El pasaporte.
Yo necesito mi maleta.
Mi maleta. Okay. Yo necesito. Oh no. Yo necesito una tele. How do I do this? It's this button. Teléfono. Ah! Oh, I didn't mean to type una, but I was so focused on un teléfono. Yo necesito mi maleta. Un teléfono. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. They picked the one that you missed and only replaced the one that you missed. That's kind of a nice touch. So the thing that you typed, the thing that you missed is the thing that they omitted the second time around. Intriguing. Okay.
Agua.
Agua.
Pan.
An.
En.
Hombre.
¿Dónde?
¿Dónde?
Por favor.
Por favor.
Pasaporte.
Pasaporte.
¿Dónde?
¿Dónde? Maleta.
Maleta.
Yo tengo una maleta.
Yo tengo una maleta.
Yo.
Yo.
Aquí.
Aquí.
Por favor.
Por favor. ¿Dónde?
¿Dónde?
¿Dónde está el teléfono?
Oh no. Does ¿dónde? Yes. Yes. ¿Dónde?
En el hotel.
en el hotel.
Yo tengo una reserva.
Reserva.
En el taxi.
El hotel está aquí.
And one of the things that are making this a lot faster is because I don't have to write kanji or hanzi, right? So that's kind of one of the things that make this seem like I'm going at double the pace, which is largely because I no longer have to read characters.
El hotel está aquí.
El hotel.
Hotel.
Hotel está aquí.
Yo
Yo tengo mi
mi reserva.
reserva. I said I have my reservation. Whoops. I misread the English sentence. Yeah, aquí. Here we go. El hotel está aquí.
Aquí.
Yo necesito una reserva.
Mi pasaporte está en el hotel. En.
Yo
tengo una reserva.
reserva.
Off we go.
Tren.
Niño.
Niño.
En.
En. El.
El.
Un boleto a Barcelona.
Un boleto a Barcelona.
Dinero.
Dinero.
Por favor.
Por favor.
Manzana.
Manzana. Aquí.
Aquí.
El aeropuerto.
El aeropuerto. El. El.
El.
Un boleto a Madrid.
Un boleto a Madrid.
La.
That's okay. They don't correspond. At first, I could have sworn these little like way things correspond, but it doesn't correspond. So this is clearly not at least I can confirm with an extreme case.
Yo necesito dinero.
Yo necesito dinero. Okay.
Un boleto a Santiago. Ah.
Although they stay the same though. And anyways.
En el autobús.
En el autobús. Autobús. Mi dinero.
Tu autobús está aquí.
Tu autobús. Sorry. Oscar, let me hear that again.
Tu autobús está aquí.
Tu autobús está aquí. Okay. En el tren. Un tren. Yeah. I had to check gender. Not that there's a choice there, but I checked gender in my head. Tu dinero. El aeropuerto. Oops. Puerto. Tu autobús está aquí. Oops. Nice. I'm getting used to hitting the accent mark. Okay.
Aquí.
Aquí.
Cerrado.
Cerrado.
Por favor.
Por favor.
En.
En
Hey.
la calle.
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 En el museo.
En el museo.
El baño está aquí.
El baño está aquí.
Bebo.
Okay.
Baño.
Okay.
Un banco.
Oh, oh no, that was baño. Un banco. Oh, un banco. Un museo.
Una calle.
Una calle. Okay. En el supermercado.
El hospital está aquí.
El hospital está aquí. The hospital is here. ¿Dónde está el supermercado? Banco.
¿Dónde está el supermercado?
Supermercado. Okay. El hospital. hospital está aquí. Oh, wait. Is it this one? Yes. I still remember. ¿Dónde está el... is it this one? This one. Oh. Baño. Oh, no. Then it's shift this, right? ¿Dónde está el baño? I haven't ever typed with this before, and it's pretty intuitive. The pinky is where most of the the pinky is where all the special stuff is. With the all the pinkies are where all the accent marks are. Pretty cool. All that gaming pinky. It's a gamer's pinky that you're using. Pretty neat. El museo está cerrado. Okay. All right. Yo tengo una reserva. Yo necesito un teléfono. Oh, I ran in the
¿Dónde
wrong
está tu
position.
boleto?
Whoops. Teléfono. Where's your ticket? Okay.
Mi pasaporte está en el hotel. En.
I see you. ¿Dónde está el banco?
Banco.
¿Dónde está el aeropuerto? Aeropuerto. Aeropuerto. Okay.
¿Dónde está tu boleto?
Boleto. En el aeropuerto. Mi pasaporte. Mi pasaporte está en el hotel. Yo necesito agua.
En la maleta.
En la maleta. El aeropuerto. I'm doing the whole like Japanese thing and other things where I deliberately enunciate all the different pieces of the word until I can smooth it out. So I'm being like, I'm exaggerating as much as I can. My voice is kind of giving out, so that's kind of a problem, kind of a bummer, seeing that these sessions are very long. But really, really emphasizing stuff. Mi reserva.
En el banco.
En el banco. Aquí, por favor. Aquí.
Aquí.
Por favor.
El museo está cerrado.
Museo. Cerrado. En
El
el
aeropuerto.
aeropuerto.
Yo necesito un taxi.
Yo necesito un taxi. Una calle.
Un supermercado.
Un supermercado. ¿Dónde está tu boleto? Boleto. Oh. I said boleto at first. I'm like, wait a minute. Yo tengo el pasaporte en la maleta. Yo necesito teléfono. Un teléfono. Whoops. El baño. el, el hospital. El dinero.
Tu tren está aquí.
Tú tienes... Wait, what'd you say?
Tu tren está aquí.
Oh. Tu tren está aquí. Yo necesito un hotel.
Un boleto a Barcelona.
Un boleto a Barcelona. Okay. Nice. Okay.
¿Dónde está el teléfono?
¿Dónde está Oh, wait. ¿Dónde está la teléfono? No, el teléfono. Oops. I thought it said something. ¿Dónde está el teléfono? I'm like, wait a minute. Yo necesito... Oh, yo necesito una reserva.
Yo necesito un hotel.
Un hotel. Yo necesito un hotel. Pasaporte. Yo tengo el pasaporte en la maleta.
La.
Okay. Tengo un pasaporte. Yo necesito un taxi. Un teléfono.
El hotel está aquí.
Oh. El hotel está aquí. En la. Oh yeah, en la maleta. Yes. Yes. Yo tengo una maleta. Right.
¿Dónde está
¿Dónde está
el pasaporte?
El hotel está aquí.
El taxi está aquí.
El taxi está aquí.
El pasaporte, por favor.
El pasaporte.
El pasaporte, por favor.
Oh, just saying, please. Por favor. Alright.
En el supermercado.
En el supermercado.
En el tren.
¿Dónde
Ok.
está tu boleto?
¿Dónde está tu boleto? Okay. ¿Dónde está la aeropuerto?
Aeropuerto.
Está en el mujer. Oh, no. ¿Dónde está la mujer?
Aeropuerto.
Está en el... I was reading this. Está en el... aeropuerto. Aeropuerto.
Un museo.
Un museo. Un museo. El banco. El hotel está cerrado.
En la calle.
I made a mistake earlier. I meant closed as in like being shut as opposed to like a position. I think I might have said close as opposed to closed.
En la calle.
En la calle. Un boleto.
El baño.
Wait. I missed.
Tu autobús está aquí.
En el hospital.
En el hospital. Autobús.
Yo necesito dinero.
Yo necesito dinero.
Un autobús.
Un autobús. Un tren.
En la maleta.
En la maleta.
En la calle.
En la calle. Yo necesito hotel. Un hotel.
¿Dónde está el baño?
¿Dónde está el baño? Ups. ¿Dónde está el pasaporte?
¿Dónde está tu boleto?
Oh my gosh. A little bit of a stretch. Un banco.
En el aeropuerto.
¿Dónde está el teléfono? Un supermercado.
¿Dónde está el hospital?
Oops. Ah! Hospital. Oops. The question mark, the plain question mark is in a different place. Yo necesito mi maleta.
¿Dónde está el museo?
I keep hitting the wrong question mark. El hotel está aquí. Oh. It's weird to press a button and then another button for the letter. So I keep like pressing the button, then backspacing, and then pressing the other button. Yo necesito una reserva. Alright. I got some and flexibility in here going on. Pasaporte, por favor.
¿Dónde está el teléfono?
¿Dónde está el teléfono? Okay. Yo tengo una reserva.
¿Dónde está tu boleto?
¿Dónde está tu boleto?
¿Dónde está el museo?
¿Dónde está el museo?
Un autobús.
Un auto. Mi pasaporte. Mi pasaporte está en el hotel.
¿Dónde está el banco?
¿Dónde está el banco? Yo necesito dinero.
Yo necesito mi maleta.
Yo necesito mi maleta. El aeropuerto. Tu autobús está aquí. Okay. ¿Dónde está el hospital? Oops. Dang it. Un boleto a Santiago. Oh, I missed an A. My bad. ¿Dónde está el baño? I'm not gonna get used to that question mark. Holy heck, the end question mark? The end question mark. And there we go. This evening after stream, I'll probably do the adventure, see what it is, and the podcast. So, as a refresher, right? There's a podcast right here, probably. Actually, let me check. I can check right now. Actually. Oh, it's not. It's slightly. Oh, wait, it doesn't replace that. No, I was incorrect. Hold up. I was incorrect. So the track is here. There's a podcast. And this stays here actually. And then they added an extra one in adventures here. So they didn't remove it. They didn't substitute. It's just addition. So there's a podcast added here and an adventure added here. And the previous one is the same. So I misspoke earlier today. I misspoke. There's a podcast here, so it's just extended by 2 extra activities. There's nothing that's here because I guess this is introduction, right? And then this is your review. And these 2 activities we just went over are different, right? So let's go. I need my pen here. So we have new here. And then we know that these 2 have different prompts, different prompt types. And then legends have blanks, blank variances. So all the legend stuff have blank variances of their current. And these things have different, these 2 have different blank types. This one has 1 from this and 1 from this type. So it has a combination of the 2 types. And then we have advanced, odd, and also what I'm doing in a outside of stream is every chapter has a 3-star exercise, right? Oops. So every chapter has 3 stars, and these are speed challenges, and speed challenges in increasing speed. So you start with 1 and then you get 2 and then you get 3. And it's absurd. Number 3. There are certain types that I can barely get 3, which is basically you provide an answer you provide like 2 answers per second. It's about 2 answers per second. For like a matching system or a matching challenge. And then for prompt challenges, it's roughly on 3, it's like 5 seconds per prompt in order to complete it. So sometimes, and then you can buy like, there are things like time boosters. That's why gems are there, but I'm starting to do those too. And I leave whatever 3 is not good enough. Like in chapter 2, in unit 2, it was a speed matching system. And yeah, there's no way I could average 2 answers per second. It's a matching, so basically you have 2 columns, 5 choices, and you're supposed to match them as quickly as possible, and they keep refreshing as quickly as possible, and you have to match on an average of 2 to 3 per second in order to clear it without like running out of time. Or you can buy time boosters with your gems, but I'm not going to do that. We're just going to practice. It's not a really big. So usually 2 stars. 2 stars is about 1 to 2 per second. That's how crazy the timing is. Not that it was designed for that. It was probably designed so that you use your gems or that. But anyways, that's what I'm doing outside of stream. So in case people are wondering, I'm keeping up to it. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. I think Spanish is fantastic. My tongue is so stiff right now, largely from Japanese, right? Japanese is incredibly stiff. I mean, that's kind of one of the elegance of Japanese. Japanese pronunciation is incredibly stiff. And maybe we'll see a little bit of a difference in a month or 2. But for now, yeah. I'm gonna try like cerrado. I can only do like 1 tap, right? Cerrado. Supermercado. Pasaporte, right? The R, the NR, like favor, right? Por, favor. Aero, do. Can't do any of those. Like cerrado. Just 1 or 2 taps each time. It'll come around at some point, right? Like mujer, hombre. Let's do a little. Okay, so let's see if they added all 27. I think the word is on point, so that's another 27, right? Did they add all of them that I can think of? Let's see. Is it 100%? So supermercado, right? Cerrado, banco, calle. We're gonna use all the gender when I'm going through, right? El supermercado, right? Cerrado, el banco, la calle, el baño, el hospital, el museo, tren, autobús, or el tren, el autobús, el aeropuerto, el boleto. Alright, 2, right? El dinero. ¿Dónde? La reserva. Tango, right? And then we have tienes somewhere, right? Está aquí hotel. En la maleta. El pasaporte. Mi teléfono. El teléfono. Necesito taxi. Did we not have tienes? No, I guess we didn't. Huh. Oh, we didn't conjugate any of the verbs this time, actually. I don't remember necesita or... Yeah. So, I think that's all of them. I don't know if there's any... So, unlike the Japanese, which, by the way, the Japanese course has been retroactively adding more and more of the words banks back in. Every once in a while when I click on the Japanese course, there's a red dot on this word section, and it keeps increasing by like 60 or 70 words every time. It's behind. Like right now, I think it has about 2,800 words, and I actually think it's way past 2,800 words where I am. It's like 4,000 plus. I said 6,000, but I think that's an overestimate because there are a lot of words that I'm get exposed and I don't know which ones are which anymore, because the words just explode. So I imagine this number is going to go up really rapidly in Spanish as well, especially when they're doing separate entries for each of the conjugations. In the Japanese course, they do not do any of the conjugations. Actually, the whole word list is void of any predicates. In this case, you can see that necesito, like for the previous unit, vivir, right, or bebo, bebes, and bebe are listed as separate entries, right? See, bebes, bebo. Where the heck did bebe go? Oh yeah, it's loaded more. So this list is gonna get gigantic really fast because it's multiple entries for all of them. So this is cool. This is kind of what I wanted. You know, fingers crossed kind of thing. Eventually, the Japanese one has all this because I would love to at least have a reference for all of them. Obviously, you can. People have already made Anki decks for these things, so you could go and download the Anki deck for whatever reason. I just like the idea that it's nice that effort, like it's available even if I don't have to go somewhere, right? It's an icing thing. Otherwise, I do something to compensate for it. So because this is convenient right here, I'm not going to compensate for it. In Japanese, I do. In Japanese course, I do the whole like kanji and writing and that type of thing in order. So technically I'm working less hard. However, for now, that's okay. Largely because I know most of these words already. When I see them. I don't usually use them. I'm not very great at creating words, like sentences, because it's been a while since I've done it. However, when I see them, it's okay. It's faster than Chinese and Japanese. Obviously, the advantage is I also don't need to learn kanji or hanzi, right? However, in speaking, Chinese is far better. Like creating sentences and stuff, Chinese is far better. But reading, this is what high school and college does best. You do lots and lots of reading. So reading is by far more. Now trying to speak, type, and read and translate at the same time, that's where it gets fun. So right now, I could see myself making mistakes while I'm thinking, reading, and doing that. I did not do that in school, right? In school, you listen, you read, you take turns, right? Actually, most of the time, like any old student, when I was younger, I don't volunteer very often, right? So now I'm doing it compulsively, compulsorily. So now I get a chance to do and juggle all these things that I've done before. And this is what, in my opinion, makes Duolingo boring for a lot of people. I think this is one of the biggest oversight crutches. Things are very memorable very quickly and repetitious very quickly because the way they structure the things, if you're not active, you become passive so quickly. They have to develop a lot of activities. And I think the Spanish one has a ton of activities. However, on the desktop version, like right now, there's not a lot of activities, right? It kind of seemed like I was still kind of doing the same thing. But even this is well beyond what Japanese course and the Chinese course has, right? So much rapidly. And that is definitely a place that requires money, time, and general interest, right? General interest drives the consumerism. That consumerism allows for Duolingo to the company, as a traded company, to reinvest. Would that happen? Probably not. I think all the content that you're asked to remember in Duolingo Japanese eclipse well sufficient to get into intermediate in order to start doing immersive learning and all that other stuff. So the content that's there is sufficient. Is it effective? That's obviously the question that most people criticize things for. Is it efficient? Does it work for other people? The answer is your mileage may vary, obviously. And after using Duolingo for quite some time now, with 3 different tiers, I actually think Chinese is close to tier 3, but it does piggyback off Japanese, so it's like tier 2.5, and Japanese course is tier 2. This is definitely tier 1. That there's no doubt about it, and we already know because of the founding language, but this is incredibly entertaining for me. Like I'm a guy, my baseline is I break out a textbook and I get a notebook and I start writing. That's where I started. So to frame some perspective on how much these apps lower the barrier, like Anki, I write and like I outlived flashcards immediately after the first time I saw flashcards. Like in maybe when I was 13 years old or something, people had like their flashcards. It's like, oh, this is how I learn. And I'm like, well, I don't have paper at home and I like don't really want to buy flashcards and I don't want to use like these things. So immediately I started doing mind palace things. I started forming associations and how to like block off text in my textbook. So I started doing things on top of my textbook, not like literally writing the textbook, but I did techniques on top of the textbook, right? I read a page, I summarize that page. I read another page, I summarize that page. Then it started becoming like I read a chapter, I summarize the chapter. And then I confer and double check with the back of each chapter's summary. And then I do those exercises. So it went well beyond flashcards a long time ago. Now, flashcards are really effective when you dislike learning, in my opinion. And that's perfectly fine. I think the vast majority of people dislike learning. It's kind of a little hard to understand or to communicate how weird that is to me when someone says, I care about a language, I really like the language, I like the nuance of a language, and yet you do everything possible to shortcut learning the language, right? So in my opinion, that's what speaks to me more. When you're constantly bickering and arguing about what is most efficacious, that sounds to me like you want to see the results as fast as possible and not really into the learning process. That is perfectly fine. What is miscommunication is when you tell someone you like language learning versus liking the using and the language itself. So I think a lot of times when I'm talking to people, it sounds more like they dislike the learning. They prefer to know the language. It's a means to an end. Because when I start talking about the language learning process, they become less responsive. They become defensive. They start talking about what is the right way and the wrong way of learning things. Well, when you're interested in learning, there are many ways to learn. Let's talk about it. There are pros and cons of each way of learning, but that's not interesting to most people. They only care about what is the best way to learn. And to me, that is they like to acquire another language. They want to read and acquire that language, not the process of learning that language. Like, this is interesting to me. This is for clarity's sake, right? Obviously, I'm trying to dispel some miscommunication that I encounter on a regular basis. I am interested in this kind of thing. Like, oh, they swapped it up here. Like, when I was doing these exercises, sure, I knew the Spanish words already. Like, I'm gonna be saying this for the next probably up to section 3. most of the words are going to be familiar to me. However, I'm curious how they make it easy, how they make it more entertaining, how are they mixing up the pace, right? That stuff is very useful to me. When you're trying to get someone to learn something, this to me is the learning part. You're getting someone to learn, not getting someone to acquire, like to suddenly become fluent in Japanese. The goal is not necessarily to get them fluent in Japanese, it's to get them to learn Japanese. So if you're providing advice like, oh yeah, this got me to Japanese fluency, then it will get you to Japanese fluency. That's ignorant. That's incredibly ignorant. Like, you didn't explain how the process would work for e-learning. Now, that's not everyone. There are plenty of experts out there and would give you the time of day and whatnot. We're talking about the average person who's not interested in the learning process, right? Like a excellent example would be someone say, oh, I started with this, and then I had to transition into another thing because this no longer provides that type of transition. I noticed that once I started with this, I needed to compensate with another tool because that process is no longer relevant to my growth. That type of thing involves talking about your learning process. Not, this is the best, do it, and that's all you need. That's shortcutting and leaping over the need to talk about the learning process. So yes, it would be fantastic and the world would be ideal if you had one tool that all you do is you shove this in that person's face and say it works. I don't think, in my opinion, it's going to be a very long time, perhaps maybe sometime after I have died of old age, that human subjectivity in terms of how they learn by integrating their motivation and their mental state and the things that they juggle is not so multifaceted that it can be discerned to one optimal learning strategy. Otherwise, the tool itself will be just as dynamic to meet the needs of the person. So in the future, I could imagine a tool that is dynamic enough that one can recommend the tool, but how that person learns is going to be different. So the ideal tool would probably be have a pocket teacher that can customize and adapt to your learning, right? To whatever you have. So effectively, it's still not achieving what people are going around saying, like, oh, this is the best method to learn something. The ideal method and the tools that are most heavily received with great feedback are tools that are most flexible. And those tools are most flexible because the person using them know what they want. And when they want and they are able to customize that, then it works. Why is that a detriment? Why is that a very important nuance I have? When you go up to someone and say, I use Anki, and you should use Anki, it'll be better for you. The way you use Anki, you have to describe it, because not everyone uses Anki the same way. It's a flexible tool. So that tool needs to be discussed. What is your methodology? Alternatively, you could use Duolingo. Now, Duolingo has a prescribed way of doing learning. So when you say, oh, just use Duolingo, then that experience is normalized. So it's actually easier to talk about a static product, but it has its own pros and cons. The con is, if it doesn't work for you, tough luck, right? Because you have no customizability. It's using an average model, the averages, the power of averages. If average goes up, we keep the design. And then Anki, the other side, I feel there are wonderful people who made it work, but they're not interested in learning. They're interested in acquiring the language and using the language. That's cool, until you start providing advice for other people. And then those people may or may not benefit from it. And that's kind of a very hot take on a lot of the trendy things like Mugaku, right? Or Migaku. Migaku is a trendy thing now. Boon Pro, right? Boon Pro comes up a bunch. Be interested in your learning if you want. But when I have a discussion about this stuff, I'm still in the honeymoon period, and I'm like, I could do the next 7 units, but I really need to rest. My voice is gonna give out soon. Ugh. Shame that the body doesn't hold up to the mind, right? Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. This is fantastic. I can't wait to do tonight's. I'm gonna do it in the next. Once the stream goes off, I'm probably gonna eat dinner, and I'm gonna do the exercise, the podcast, and the adventure for Unit 3, and I'll talk about it tomorrow, right? Yeah. So until then, have fun, guys. Have fun, right? What do you? So if you're gonna watch this later, right? Gracias, muchas gracias, right? Muchas gracias, and I guess we'll talk to everyone later, right? Hasta luego, adios. Hablaré contigo, hablaré contigo más tarde, something like that. Talk to you guys a little bit later, right? Más tarde is more later. So hablaré contigo más tarde. Okay. Talk to you guys later. Stay safe. Stay healthy. I'll start working on throwing in some Spanish every once in a while. And take care. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Stay consistent. Right? Say no to burnout. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.